Cash-a-maniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Hey, welcome to the Geo Gearheads. This is episode 462. We're talking about road caching. You know, we've done it so much. This is road caching 19. Hey, I'm Chris of the Northwest, along with Daryl W4. And Daryl, how are you doing?
I am doing pretty well. Happy that it's almost Friday.
Yes.
And
Friday Eve.
Yes, it's almost the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States, which means more caching.
Woohoo!
Right.
Exactly.
It means, it's a day off for caching.
Mm-hmm.
The family, the bird, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter. It's more caching.
The bird takes a long time to cook. You can go do some caches while you're got that thing in the oven.
And take the family with you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Leave, a 400-degree oven. That's probably too hot. For hours.
I was gonna say,
you're out of the house.
What kind of bird are you trying to cook?
Well, ostrich. It's a big family. I don't know. You know what? I could cook a turkey. My wife does it so much better. I don't even try anymore.
It's safer that way.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm very excited to talk about road caching once again, because we have one of our more prolific road cachers during this pandemic joining us again. Welcome back, Merlin 1392.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I don't know how I got this reputation, but it definitely fits this year.
Well, I was gonna say, you right now, you're like one of the few people I know who's actually been able to get out and do road trips, for caching. Not that they're, as exciting as some of the trips that I know you had planned before COVID actually.
No, they're not.
Messed everything up.
I probably have more caches this year because I didn't do what I had planned to do, rather than if I had done what I planned to do.
Wait a minute.
I'm having a problem following that.
Plans fell through.
Yes, the plans fell through.
Yeah.
Limax says that Thanksgiving is for the birds, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, trash can turkey. Is that deep frying in a trash can?
Yes.
Better not be a plastic trash can.
Oh, yeah. That's how you hear all those stories about people who burn down their garage.
Oh, man.
I found a duck in a can today. Does that work?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Is it like Prince George in a can?
I think no. Prince Albert.
No, Prince Albert in a can. Yeah, there you go. Oh man, I'm terrible at these things.
It's going to be a long night.
No, you have no idea.
Well, you have another show to do. That's true. So yeah, it's been a very good year. And I have to say, what COVID? I mean, I know that, obviously things here in the States are looking really, really bad. But I've been able to maintain social distancing. Most of what I've done has been on my own. I have a good friend that he stays at home all the time, and I stay at home most of the time. And so he and I have been able to go out now and again. And then what I wrote Daryl about was this awesome road trip that I took at the end of October. I was invited to go along with a couple of video loggers. And if you've never been on a road trip with a video logger, let me tell you, it's something different.
Why do you say that? What could be different? They're just cachers like you and me.
Yeah. One would think so. But remember when you put a movie together, there's several shots, there's several takes. We can't just find caches. We've got to go back and re-record this and, let's do this a different way. And so it definitely makes a caching adventure much, much different.
You mean longer?
No, we had the same amount of time.
Oh, okay.
We left on Sunday morning and we got back Saturday night. So that, it didn't take us any longer.
Well, fewer caches in the.
That could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
See,
still
this-
managed to find 270 for the week, which for some that's a lot, and for others it's not. So
That is pretty impressive.
I was.
Limax says, "Don't try a power trail with a vlogger."
Yeah.
And that's actually something I've been trying to figure out how to do. Is I know I can't do a vlog on a power trail, but
Right.
how do I get the experience of power caching into a vlog? Especially because there's only like 2 of us. I need a camera person to make this one work.
Yeah, but you put your GoPro, stick it, or suction cup outside on your window, facing forward, so it watches you come and go out of the vehicle, and just play it on fast forward or time lapse.
But that doesn't actually show you anything but a lot of in and out of the car.
That's what power caching or power trail caching is.
Yeah.
But it's also about the fighting in the car, about which way to turn and where to pull over.
Well, there you need multiple cameras then, obviously.
Exactly. We need a couple of lockdowns, a couple of like the GoPros, and then a photographer to do it with a lot of audio gear. We've got to pull out the wireless packs and all that stuff.
Well, I think that was one of the reasons I got invited to go along on the trail, is because there's some very interesting footage that is coming, and I was the videographer for it, so I don't want to spoil the guy's fun, but I'll give him a quick plug. I went with Neil Moore, who does Cache Tales, and Jason Hailmeister, who does Caching with Hailmeister. So, and the 2 of them got into some things, and so we'd have to find a cache, and then we'd have to film finding the cache, and then we would have to film leaving the cache, and so we had to find a cache 3 times, but we could only log it once.
By the way, GSM times 2 says the answer is the 360 camera.
Okay.
I think I only have 3 of those sitting over here.
Well, that's not enough.
No.
You need 357 more?
Well, you need like 1 or 2 in the car, and 1 on each person. Somewhere I actually have a vest they never pulled out that's supposed to you put a pole on it, and then you put the camera like over your head, so that you get the 360 as you're walking, and you don't have to hold it. It's just always there.
Well, that would
I got so excited about that, and it finally arrived like midwinter, and I haven't had a chance to really go out and do 360 since then. But that was going to be a cool thing that I never ended up playing with. Sorry. Anyway, getting back to the videos.
Videos or the road trip?
The road trip, the videos of the road trip.
Videos of the road trip. Okay.
Yes.
Well, Cache Tales actually did release the first of what should be many, many videos yesterday. And it's a most interesting one because we had to pass through Wisconsin. And when my son found out that we were going through Wisconsin, he said, "Dad, I need some more spotted cow." I said, "Well, I spot cows on the road all the time." And he was like, no, go to the store. So Monday morning, we stopped off at our local Walmart, and while Jason and I went in, Neil looked for a cache nearby, and there happened to be one in a cemetery. So we went and got the spotted cow, got all the way up to the counter, ready to pay for it. And the nicest young man came over and said, here in Wisconsin, you can't buy alcohol before 8 a.m. And it was 7:30. So I said, okay, well, so much for the spotted cow. And so there was no spotted cow on this trip, but we'll see how that goes for next time. But there is a little video on what Neil was doing while we were spotting cows.
I was going to say, did you spot cows?
Along the way, cows and bison, and we did see some deer.
Nice.
So we did. We had a grand adventure. We left Michigan on Sunday, and I picked Neil up, or Neil picked me up at the airport where we rented a car. And then we drove to Illinois to pick up Hailmeister.
Mhm.
Drove through Wisconsin, picked up Minnesota. That was a new state for me. Picked up 3 caches, I think, in Minnesota. We got the partnership cache, which was in Minnesota. So that was a big one for the other 2 guys. I had the partnership attribute already, but one of my goals was to get all 3 that are still left in the United States. So I was able to pick up that second one in Minnesota. So we did that. And then the whole goal of the tour, or the trip, was the Fargo Moorhead Geo Tour. And without being a paid spokesman, it is an awesome tour. So,
And I've heard that from more than a few people. So one of the ones that I'd like to get to.
yeah, it's easily doable in a long day. We did it in a day over 2 days. We got all 24 caches in the tour, and the caches are well hidden. They're very creative in their design. There's a few gadget type caches, and there is even a magnetic key holder along the trail, which you wouldn't think is a great cache, but the place that it brings you to is an alleyway that has just been decorated with art. And it's kind of like kind of on the order of a graffiti art, but it's very, very well done throughout the back alley. And so it's an awesome place to visit. So that was one of the main things that we wanted to accomplish on this trip. And like I say, some of our numbers, I know from listening to other stories that the numbers weren't necessarily impressive. To some they are, to others they're not. We did 7 days, and we were on the road for 2,825 miles.
Wow.
So, and got 270 caches.
It's like 100 miles of cache.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I did that in my head. It hurt, but I did it.
Nice. We also were able to partake of the first snowfall in Minnesota this year. North Dakota had their first one. That was on Tuesday of the trip, or Monday and Tuesday. Fargo got 4 inches of snow for us to deal with as we were going through the Geo Tour.
Wow.
And so that made it interesting. And they kept saying, oh, wait, Thursday's going to be worse. And as we left North Dakota to head south, looking forward to heading south, we got to about 8 inches of snow at the border between North Dakota and South Dakota. And if that weren't fun enough, then we had freezing rain as we went through South Dakota.
GSM times 2 says, and he got to spend time with good people. That's nice by itself. It's not about the numbers.
Yeah. The 2 guys were great. We did 2 events at outdoor pavilions while we were out there, and I have to say that those were excellent. Monday night, after we finished up the tour, it was an event held by Neil, and we had probably 12 to 15 local cachers come out. And it was kind of funny because we pulled up at the parking lot at the appointed hour of the event, and we had 4 inches of snow, and it's blowing and it's cold and kind of nasty, and the guys are getting their shtick together. And so I said, I'm going to go out to the pavilion and see what it looks like and what this event is going to be like. So I got out of the car and headed up to the pavilion. We were on the opposite side of the parking lot from where everybody else had parked. And so when I got out, they all got out and started walking up to the pavilion. And I'm like, okay, what do? This is their event. This is not my event. So I said, hi, I'm Merlin 1392. Welcome. Thanks for coming. And oh, by the way, I'm the warm-up act. So I get to keep you entertained until the guys come out of the car. And a couple of them said, no, we've seen you on Geo Gearheads. We came to see you. And I was like, oh, when did I become a celebrity? What's up with this? So I owe you guys a great deal of gratitude for allowing me to be on the show and become a star in my own mind, and at least in a couple of other people's minds. So,
see, we would have thought that drove you away.
We're surprised you accepted the invitation to come back again, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I am a glutton for punishment.
Okay.
I was 12 hours caching again today, so I'm just kind of silly that way.
Wow.
12 hours of caching and then you do a show.
Yeah. Well, it kept me awake later so that I would be ready to do the show tonight. So, but we got to meet Cassius, who's done all those caches up in Gilby. He came down and met with us, and we met GGH, who's the one primarily responsible for the Fargo tour. And they wanted to talk to me about the geo organization groups that we've done and how we're doing with that and some of the things that we've done with that. So that was kind of my tie into it. And then on Wednesday, we went over to Bismarck and got the state's oldest cache over there. That was a 3-hour drive to Bismarck. And we did another event over there. One of the challenge caches that we wanted was you had to have 25 events, but 2 of them had to be in North Dakota. So Neil did his event. I did an event. We got our 2 in North Dakota, and I got to meet the tick magnet. So that was kind of fun for me. And is Daryl sleeping, or did Daryl freeze?
He could be sleeping.
Oh, okay.
But more than likely he froze. It's cold there, you know.
It is very cold in Michigan, and we're supposed to get snow tonight. So, yeah. So that was kind of fun. We had about 6 people come to our event in Bismarck, but that was a lot of fun. Oh, he dropped out.
Daryl left us. He wanted to take a good nap. I guess we were talking too much.
Sorry. See, you guys have made me a star. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, okay. So, obviously, events are still happening in North Dakota.
Yes, we were really worried about them. We did maintain good social distancing and only got together for a second or two when we did a group picture with a long selfie. So we did a little of that. We're trying to be, obviously everything is very, very careful. We did not see another cacher on the road while we were caching, going to any of the caches we went to, which was a little surprising, but not too much. And masks in all the restaurants and things like that. So we felt very, very safe.
I was going to say, while you were driving, you found all the amenities open, your restaurants, your gas stations. You didn't have any trouble. You said multiple days, so hotels were involved, right?
Yeah, Airbnbs, actually. Okay. Again, another plug for Airbnb. The out-of-pocket for the whole trip for the week was about $500 for each of us.
Oh,
that
wow.
included the car rental, gasoline, food, and Airbnbs. So they were really pretty nice. Hailmeister coordinated our Airbnb. He was our lodging coordinator.
Okay.
So yeah. It was a relatively inexpensive trip, and actually the accommodations were very, very nice. So
you did the trip for less than $2 to geocache.
Yes.
There you go. Well,
geocaching is free, right?
Well, maybe. It depends.
Daryl's not sleeping anymore, but he has a very stern look on his face.
He doesn't like our humor.
I'm just assuming that I'm having massive internet problems or something.
You really are. Your video has not changed in quite some time, Daryl.
All right, I'm going to actually drop out for a little bit and come back, and hopefully that will fix it.
Well, it was nice talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Daryl.
You're right back, guys.
Okay.
Well, you'll be back on Tim's show.
Okay. Wait a minute. I don't want to do this on a weekly basis. I don't mind joining you guys here and again. I do not want to do this on a weekly basis.
There was a nice parting gift for Daryl at the door.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that would be a nice parting gift for Daryl. Hey, I'll take over the show for you. Well, I guess I'm gonna wait for him on the next thing, because I wanted to talk about what we all thought was the best adventure lab we have done, any of us have ever done, and so we did that. So some of the other rundown.
I was going to say, what if we skip that and go on to some of the other types of caches you did?
Yeah. So of the 270, we got 2 of the state's oldest caches. That was Nebraska and North Dakota.
Okay.
We did 76 unknown type, the question mark kind.
Mhm.
5 puzzles. We did 5 adventure lab bonuses and
Mhm.
66 challenges.
Mm.
So we there were quite a few challenges that we found right in Omaha, Nebraska,
Mhm.
and in Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay.
So we went around and picked up a lot of those. We did 6 Earth caches, 10 virtual caches, 3 webcams, 7 multis, 2 Where I Go, 3 letterbox.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
No, 1 geo tour.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A geo tour on a snowy day.
Okay.
So we
This is
got
how
11
you build
adventure
amazing cache.
labs and 80 lab caches. So
Wow.
yeah,
Now, were most of the lab caches you did the personal type with 5 locations each, or did you do some of the bigger event lab caches with up to 10?
we did a little bit of both
Okay.
because doing my math, I know we did 11 adventures because I counted those all up, so I had that number, and I know we got 80 lab caches.
Hmm.
So 5 at a time is 55.
Right.
So there were
There
3 or
had to be.
4
Hmm.
of the 10 style. And that was in North Dakota. They were talking to me about that because, my go early on got a 10-stage adventure and was talking with the geo organization stuff early in the adventure lab thing. And so they had written into headquarters and also gotten some 10 packs. So
Okay.
that worked out really, really well. So, but Daryl, now that you're back, if you're going to be back long enough,
I don't think that's going to happen.
oh, all right. Well, I'll
We are
start
having
talking.
lots of internet issues tonight, so this is
Okay.
not the first problem that we've had with our connection tonight.
Huh. I've heard if you pay your internet bill that they'll keep your service running.
You know what? I think the problem might be that I have to stop paying it so they actually pay attention to the service issues.
Oh, that could be too. Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you're paying, they don't care.
When they get your money, that's all they need. They don't care if it actually works.
Nice. Well, like I said, I know you've been on the adventure trail thing because of the one that you got and the second one, and we were tipped off that while we were in Omaha, Nebraska, there was the adventure lab that we had to do. It's a 5-stage adventure lab, and it's called With All My Heart. And I know that Rich out in California has talked about some of the elements that he's put together in his adventure labs, and I haven't tried any of his. But again, by far, this one, I'd have given it a 10-star rating if I could have. It was only a 5, and it was amazing. So the premise of With All My Love is the story of 2 people, obviously very close to one another, and the first stage takes you to high school where they meet. Second stage takes you to college where they form a relationship. You go to the place where they had their first date. You go to the place where he proposes. You go to the church where they were married. And along the way, it's just a very loving, very touching story. And again, Daryl, I've heard you say, do people really read an adventure lab? The answer is a qualified no. I've got over 500 adventure labs, and I can tell you I've read maybe 4 of them. We read this one because there were at least 2 tears shed during the reading of this story.
Okay.
So
what made you read it where you didn't read the others, though?
We were kind of tipped off that we should.
See, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, as we started, though, we read the intro. And because it's with all my heart, what does that mean? You know, if you're looking at the history of downtown X, or, you know, we're in XYZ cemetery. Okay, you know what we're kind of looking for. But what does with all my heart mean? Why is it with all my heart? And so as you begin to go to some of these places, you want to know, why is it with all my heart? And so we started to read a little bit, then we were like, oh, this is really good. We better read a little bit more. Oh, this is great. We've got to really read this. So you get to the final, and the final says there's a bonus cache. You need this clue from the adventure when you get to the ground zero of the bonus. But at ground zero is where you get your next clue, not the bonus cache.
Mm.
And so when you go to the bonus, when you get to ground zero, there is there's a virtual element that you have to identify, and another story that you have to read. And in the story is a book cipher. So now you've got to find letters in the story. So again, you kind of have to read the story to get the letters.
Nice.
And you're in a cemetery. So with all my heart, you have an idea of what's going to happen. And why is it with all my heart? So the three elements go into certitude, and you get yet another story. And this story provides you numbers throughout the letter. So it's interesting. It starts out, before anything else, please forgive me. So now I've got the number 4. And then you go through the rest of the story, pulling out the rest of the numbers. That gives you the coordinates to the final. And you go to the final, and it's a birdhouse that's a church.
Oh,
This sounds like an awful lot of work for a single find, though.
No, we got 6 finds.
Right, but
Right.
you get the 6 find, you get the first 5 finds for completing the adventure lab.
Correct.
Then you have to go through 2 more stories to actually finish the bonus cache and get 1 find.
Correct.
Now, don't get me wrong.
I know.
This sounds awesome and I want to do it, but I can see where this is going to be a problem, because unless you have that word of mouth to get it going, people are going to get turned off and walk away, because it's like, this is going to take me too much time.
Maybe. The final cache was rated 3.5, 2, I think. So it had a higher DT rating.
Yeah.
So you knew it wasn't necessarily going to be easy.
Yeah. And it's a puzzle cache, so you expect to put some work into it.
Correct. Now, with the 3 of us, we knew what we had to do. There wasn't any surprises for us, but it still did take a little bit of time to go through it. But and the story went from, early high school days to, I can't wait until we're together again. That was the awesome part. And where the tears came.
I can kind of imagine.
But that is in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's in downtown Omaha. So if you are there, it is the one not to miss. That of the 4, I think, adventure labs in Omaha, that was the only one we did. And
probably one of the longest ones to complete, especially if you include the bonus.
Yeah.
And it's an adventure all to itself.
Yeah. Actually, it's not the longest one that I did. There is one in Saugatuck, Michigan, that takes you around town, and then the bonus cache takes you to a park, and the bonus cache is a 4-stage multi, and it is an evil hide for the final. And so that one took me about an hour to get through the adventure lab, because Saugatuck is one of the more popular towns here in Michigan, especially in the summer. And I went in the summer to do it. So parking was challenging. And then when I got to the park, I think it took me 3 hours to go through the multi. And I think I spent an hour on the final itself because it was just so rotten. I ended up calling the CO and trying to get hints, and he's trying to describe the area, and I'm like, I'm not getting this. Where? And then I finally spotted it, and I just said, "Oh, you're an evil man." So that one actually took longer, but now With All My Heart was definitely a one worth doing, and there was no video in it either, so it was really just text and one of my adventure labs up in Traverse City, what I thought was permanent placements have moved, so I've had to take 2 of the stages and actually provide the answers to those. This one is like the cornerstone of the building, something above the front door that's carved in granite. So these aren't going to move.
That's what you think.
Right. Well, yeah, that could be.
Yeah, as next week they start demolition of that building.
Yeah. I don't see the school coming down. The place where the proposal was is a castle, so they use it for all kinds of events. I don't see that one coming down. The church has been there since the 1800s, so it's probably not coming down anytime soon.
So it's due to come down now.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, there's a hurricane heading for Omaha, and it's going to take out that church.
Oh, I think it's a very impressive church. It was very nice. I didn't write the name of it down, but it's St. Cecilia's. That's it. It's a very nice church. It's one of the few churches that I've actually gone in when I didn't have to go into, and it's gorgeous inside.
Yeah, now if we can just come up with the time to do it, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. We really that was probably, outside of the Fargo tour, that was the highlight of the trip. It was definitely a peak piece to it.
Nice.
Limax says more like a tornado than a hurricane, and Limax, the point is this is 2020, so it's going to be a hurricane. It's not going to be a tornado. You know, they build the churches and whatnot to withstand the hurricanes up there.
Correct.
Not the tornadoes, not the hurricanes. So it's going to be a hurricane because it is, after all, 2020.
Right. But I heard we have a vaccine coming.
Yeah, totally changing subjects. I'm actually very anxious because it sounds like this is a pretty decent vaccine. 80% is what I'm hearing for the effective
90?
rate. I had heard 90 at one point, but then they backed it down to 80 in some of the other reports. So I'm going with 80.
Russia, they have one at 92%. Is better, no?
Well, here's I think the issue is the one that they're talking about. Was it Pfizer?
Pfizer was the first one.
Okay, so it's a 2-part vaccine.
Correct.
So if you don't get the 2 parts in the right time frame, I think that's where some of the efficacy questions come into play.
Oh, it could.
So if it's too early or too late,
this is a family-friendly podcast.
Okay.
But that would mean that road trips are back on for 2021.
I know. This is why I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And, my big thing, and this is one of the things I wanted to get your take on. was when we've gone even for like the little day trips just around town, we can't find things like restrooms because almost everything is closed. No one has dining rooms open. The places like, the gas stations and convenience stores that used to have public restrooms have since closed the restrooms.
Oh,
So I was wondering how that ended up working during your road trips. Is it better maybe when you get closer to the interstates?
it must be, because I would say outside of the fact that we had 3 guys and just needed to find a tree now and again, that when we did stop for gas or we stopped for lunch, we were able to go inside a McDonald's, for instance, order lunch, use the restroom. We couldn't eat in the restaurant. We had to take it back out. Okay, I'm fine with that. Gas stations, every gas station we stopped at, we could use the restrooms. They were open. Some were on interstate, some were on, I would liken it to you for like 53 Van Dyke. Not really an expressway, but a bigger roadway.
Sure.
And so when we didn't stop a ton, but when we did stop for gas and did stop for food, everything was open. We never had a problem.
Yeah, and GSM times 2 says, or is it better when we get away from Detroit, which might be the answer as you move away from the population centers. And I know some of the small towns we've gone to have been a little bit less problematic.
Yeah, I know as I've traveled north, we haven't had a problem with that. We were down in Kalamazoo today, and we didn't have a problem when we stopped for lunch. We were able to use the restroom at Wendy's. So,
well, and at least in this area, all of the Wendy's have the dining rooms and counters closed. So
yeah, we could not eat inside, but you could go inside, order, and use the restroom.
It's drive-through only.
Oh,
that's
okay.
What happens with a lot of the fast food type places up here.
Okay.
And when we were down in Toledo earlier this year, it was the same situation. So, yeah, it is probably as you move away from the population centers,
it could
that
be
some of that stuff opens up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the trip I did earlier this year around the northern lower peninsula for the Michigan Geo Tour, I didn't stop a lot for lunch, and I only stopped once a day really for gas, and used a lot of trees, but didn't have to worry about restrooms much. But I from what I saw, the gas stations were open, and my assumption was the restrooms were open in those outer areas. But again, I was away from a big population center, and we weren't talking about hundreds of thousands of cases even back then. So, I can see things getting closed more again. And we were a little worried about that going to North Dakota, because they were one of the first states to start ramping up as this second wave started coming through.
Well, and we are getting the first wave of the next round of closures. The office, our office in Chicago is pretty much shutting down because as of Monday, there's another stay-at-home order. And we had to cancel. One of our guys was heading out there to do some work early next month, and it's a 30-day order, so he can't go out there now. So yeah, I'm envisioning another round just in time for the holidays.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that probably makes sense that, keeping, like I said, some people are going to say, how dare you take a road trip? And, others are like, well, I chose to take this road trip. That was my decision, or our decision to take, the 3 of us. And we felt very, very safe among the 3 of us. I mean, geocachers by and large are nerds. We don't go to the bars. We don't go to the dance halls. We don't, socialize with a lot of other people other than our own. So we don't go out. We play by the rules. And so I feel relatively safe with most everyone I've geocached with. And even if I go to a geocaching event, I'm fairly comfortable.
And most of the geocaching events I've been to, people are pretty good about wearing the masks and social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not in those big populations, and we're pretty safe about it when we've done it. It still is a risk, but
Yes.
we're minimizing those risk factors. So, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great, and we're getting out there, but some people will definitely take issue with it.
Yeah. Well, and for instance, on our
who are exactly the other way and don't think that we should have anything, any problems doing it, and we should be running around without the masks and everything.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
I believe we need to take it.
We're in the middle.
There is a middle ground there, and I kind of liken it to terrorism. I'm not going to be terror. Yeah, there you go. Traced to bars and gyms. Yep.
Yeah. So GSM times 2 says 80% of cases can be traced to bars or gyms. And I had heard something about that early on, but I don't think that's actually the case now. What I'm hearing for the last few months is mostly it's traced back to schools.
Yes. Our local school district here, my friend today was talking about the fact that they have a significant population already in quarantine. My local school district, the one I work for, has been on 100% remote learning since school started. Now they're talking about coming back January the 4th to start the next semester with some in person, some remote. It'll be the parents' choice. But I think with the way things are rising, I really have a hard time seeing they're going to keep that. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all kind of, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But getting back to the vaccine, the remarkable thing was they were saying like they're going to have on approval like 1.5 million doses available for distribution.
Immediate. Yep.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, and out here, Kent County is already planning on the distribution. And my wife was like, well, why are they planning already? And I'm like, well, Pfizer is based in Kalamazoo, so they're going to ship 1 million doses out to the rest of the world, and they're going to keep $100,000, 100 out the back door for us. So, we'll see. We'll see how it actually works. But, it was kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, but I'm anxious for that because the vaccines, because if we do, then I think we're going to start reopening. We can start having our geocaching events. I've still got my community celebration event that I have to list, and I can't.
I have one too.
Do anything with it right now because nothing's open to do it. And the summer I probably could have done something, but was afraid of everything shutting down and having to retract it again. But I really would like to get back to at least doing some more events indoors because it is winter.
Right. Well, and a good friend of mine in Lansing had an event for December the 5th, something like that. And it was a community celebration event. And they just sent a notice out this week saying with the rise in COVID, the restaurant has limited accessibility to 12 people or less. And we just can't do an event like that. So we're postponing it a year. So that event's been canceled.
Wow.
And I think that's harder on people. I have it in my calendar. I was looking forward to it. It's a 60-mile trip over to Lansing. And now I'm disappointed. And I'm okay with being disappointed because it's the right thing to do, but I'm nonetheless disappointed.
But it's been almost a year of disappointment.
Correct.
All right. With that, why don't we actually wrap it up? But any parting thoughts about the caching with vloggers before we actually do wrap up this show?
Well, I have one more thing that I'd like to go into after that. But yeah, caching with vloggers, like I said, is very, very different. And you'll have to watch the YouTubes to see. They're quite funny. And I think that was the element that I brought to them. Usually if you see a vlogger, they have their arm stuck out and they've got the camera running wherever it is. Well, this time it allowed me to shoot them. And so it gives a different perspective for how they're doing it. But the one other thing that I want to mention in terms of news, we talked about this a couple of years ago, the Joyous Novell mission trip.
Which I finally got a chance to do last year.
Did you?
Yes.
You can do it again this year.
Do we have a thread for it yet or no?
The thread isn't up yet.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep, but I talked to Claire because there was another geocaching show that did an interview with a couple of people about it. Around November the 15th, she's looking at this weekend or next weekend. Whenever the 15th is, that's when she's looking to, right around that date, she's going to post it. So I will be happy to send you guys the link.
Yeah, absolutely, because chances are I'm not going to catch it because I'm never in the forums.
Yeah, I'm not either. She kind of sends me a note to tell me that she's posted it again, and this year I'm watching because the podcaster people want to do it, and Scott wants to know it for the other ones. So that for 2020, that's an awesome thing because you get a pen pal and you get a Secret Santa, and you don't have to go out for it. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it is kind of tough to find that thread in the forums because last year I looked for it, gave up, and then it might have been you that even sent me the link, but someone sent me the link and I finally got to it and signed up, and it was fun.
Okay, cool.
I didn't have as much time to get it set up as I wanted to because I think I made it in like a day or two before the end.
Okay.
So
well, I searched the forums for Joyeux because it's a French joyous.
Right.
And if you use that word, you'll find it.
All right. So that's our tip.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll definitely link to the channels for Neil Moore and Hailmeister in the show notes, and also that Fargo Geo Tour and the With All My Heart bonus cache. So all of that will be in there for anyone who wants to check it out.
Whew, nice. I'm tired just hearing that.
If I'm thinking, how can I make this work? And the first thing that comes to mind is, where can I find a kennel that Fozzie, our dog, will actually like?
But, they don't need a kennel. Just stick him in the back seat.
Oh, if he would actually do well on these trips, we might actually take him. But we've done a couple of those videos. Actually, I think we've only done one so far. But we've done a few of the trips with Fozzie. He is not a geocaching dog.
That's improper training.
Well, yeah. Remember, he was 8 years old when his mommy discovered geocaching.
Ah, okay.
So he did not get training at the proper time.
Okay. I hear all dogs can learn new tricks, though.
They can, but do they want to?
Start feeding him out of an ammo can so he gets that scent.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
All right.
All right,
guys, I appreciate you having me on again, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy holidays.
Merlin and
and we'll have to have you back on again soon. Okay. So check the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more of the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cachemaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on the website to support the Cachemaniacs shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Suffenauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2020 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.